Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the future of the Peterson Academy. How can it evolve? Where will it be going? And what will it look like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Hopefully Jordan Peterson's still around in that time, but this academy is going to grow exponentially. I think it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Hopefully they'll have more and more money to put into it, and maybe some of these ideas that I'm putting out there today can actually come to fruition. I don't know if they will. I'm going to be talking about some ideas that are a little bit out there today, somewhat in the realm of sci-fi, but I think with the technology that we have today and just how rapidly it's advancing, a lot of these ideas will be feasible. It's just whether or not they'll have the money and the time to actually make it happen, but we'll see. I'm not going to be talking about stuff that I've talked about before. I've already made a video of 5 problems I see with the Academy and 5 ways to fix it. I've made a video of 10 features I would like to see added to the Peterson Academy. So you guys can go watch those videos if you guys want to see things that I think are more immediate. But today we're going to be looking long term. What can we see this Academy evolve into? So I have a couple ideas. I'm going to talk about 3 today. And then you guys can let me know down in the comments if you guys have any ideas yourself. So what I want you guys to do is think about an academy, think about a university, and how would you develop it if you were going to do it similar to how Jordan Peterson is with the online portion first and then potentially physical brick and mortar locations in the future. How would you go about building a university? What features would you add? What things do you think are essential to having a university run well? Let me know down in the comments, and then we can kind of brainstorm that way, and maybe I can make another email for the Peterson Academy and see if they respond to the second one. They still haven't responded to the first. I will let you know when they do. It's just they probably have thousands of emails right now. Mine was quite long, and they have a pretty small team. So whenever they get around to that, they will. But today let's look at the future of the Academy. So one idea that I have is very expensive, but I think it would be very cool. I think it would revolutionize education. So if you guys know that Sphere in Las Vegas, it's beautiful. It's magnificent. I haven't been there live, but I've seen a UFC event that they held in the Sphere on TV, and it was the most magnificent sporting event I've ever seen on television in my life. It blew me away, and I couldn't believe that it worked, because I thought going into it that there'd be too many flashy things going on in the Sphere and that the fighters would be distracted, and there's no way this is going to work. But they made it work. They dimmed some things down. They made it look like a background. They made it pop and flourish when it needed to. And then they, dimmed it down for the fights. So I think it's actually doable to do lectures in that Sphere. Now, I would love to see Jordan Peterson do a lecture in the Vegas Sphere in front of like 20,000 people or however many that theater seats. But what I actually would like to see for the Academy is more of like a 25 to 50 person Sphere, a much smaller version of it. So when you guys actually watch the lectures on the Academy, it's beautiful. They have these awesome images that are popping up in the background. They have text and colors and smoke that turns into, pictures of the people that they're talking about. It's really cool. It really captivates you. But they have to do that in post, because the actual, when you go there, it's not an actual screen. It's just a white background. And the white background's really clean. I like it. It almost makes it look like you're watching a whiteboard, but then the professor's on the whiteboard and the students are like in the peripheral, and you're like watching the professor on a whiteboard. It almost feels like that to a degree, but I love it. It makes it really, really engaging. It adds a level of contrast there. Fantastic. I love the way they're doing the lectures right now, but imagine if they did this in a dome, in a little Sphere, in a smaller version of the Vegas Sphere, where you could have students feel that, awesome impact of all the images popping up in real time. And you could do more with an actual screen behind you. And then you wouldn't have to put things in post. You wouldn't have to do the editing of putting all the images in the background. It would just be there. And then if you could do it live, the professor could use the background to show things that he wants to show. So if Jordan Peterson's talking about a scene in Pinocchio, he could pull it up on the Sphere behind him and they could actually watch it. And I think it would be really, really cool. I think it would make for the best possible atmosphere for engaging in a lecture. Now, again, some people might say that's going to be too flashy, there's going to be too much going on, and it's going to be too much for people. I don't think so. I think they actually could make that work, but again, that would take some troubleshooting, and it would take a little bit of time to get it perfect, but I think they could do it. I think if the Peterson Academy maybe got in contact with the UFC team, they did a fantastic job with the Sphere. Maybe if they got in contact with some other people that are currently doing the Las Vegas shows, they can make something work for the Peterson Academy. And then you could see these spheres popping up like all over the US, maybe all over the world. You know, you have like 30 or 50 spheres across the globe, and maybe, because I think the Peterson Academy is going to grow exponentially. I think the more professors that do lectures on here are going to be talking to their peers, and they're going to say, man, I did a lecture series on the Peterson Academy, and they let me do whatever I want. They gave me free reins, and the students really loved it, and it was fantastic, and I enjoyed the whole thing. You should teach your own course on the Peterson Academy. And maybe we can get to a point one day where there's not just 20 professors, but maybe 100 or 1,000 professors. So then if you have that many professors, you can go to a sphere once a month and sit down, watch lectures live with professors from all over the world who are traveling. I think it would be really, really cool. I think it would be a way to kind of globalize education. So we have the lecture dome. I also want to talk about the study hall. So without the professors, because, you know, they're very busy people, they're scientists, and a lot of them are high-end scientists, so they have busy lives. We students need to study. So I've, you know, proposed the idea of perhaps students getting together in groups and going to one person's house and utilizing people's libraries, borrowing and sharing books. That would all be fantastic, but if we could get to a point where we could have actual places for students to go, physical locations, that would be awesome. Now, first, we'd probably start with, you know, buildings that have already been built. You kind of rent them out and then start that way. But eventually, if they could start to build study halls from the ground up and like add some Greek architecture in there and make sure that it doesn't feel like a prison like modern schools, maybe have things more circular so people can sit in a circle rather than in rows. And I think you could create, you know, these schools or at least study halls that, you know, can make people feel like they want to go there, can make people feel like they want to learn there and stay there and engage with other people rather than, you know, that kind of regimented, almost military style education that we have since the Industrial Revolution, where everybody sits in rows and there's the bell, and even the schools are almost shaped and designed like prisons. So I think that would be really cool. I think developing study halls, like I said, maybe with some pillars and some Greek architecture, you know, bring it back to the classical age. I don't know. This is just me kind of spitballing and brainstorming some random ideas. But the third idea that I have, which is really out there, this is like super sci-fi-y, but at either the study halls or maybe at the spheres as well, but at least at the study halls, and maybe you could have access to this through your laptop too, through your phone, through the technology that you have at home. It'd be really cool to be able to access AI professors. Now, I know some people are my audience is pretty split on this idea, so I understand if you don't like the idea of talking to an AI version of Jordan Peterson. However, Jordan Peterson used an AI version of Jordan Peterson to write his new book, We Who Wrestle with God. He used ChatGPT and specialized AI that was trained on his books and his writings to help him write his own book. And he said many times it would write him a chapter or give him an idea that it's not clear to him that he wouldn't have already had that idea, or it's not even clear to him that he would have that idea, but it seems right. It seems to fit with what he was on the path to trying to achieve. So anyways, very, very complicated. But I think if we had like Jordan Peterson, John Vervaeke, you know, James Orr AIs that you could talk to either, you know, through your computer, or you go to a study hall and you get like a hologram version of it. You can pose it questions and then it could answer you based off of, you know, probably the combination of the writings of that professor and the combination of the writings of, you know, the people who the professor studies. Like, you would want Jordan Peterson's AI to not just be trained on Jordan Peterson, but also Nietzsche, also Jung, also Dostoevsky, right? And that would create for an AI that is highly capable. Now, I think AI is going to get there rather quick. You watch how ChatGPT's grown since its first iteration to now, and if you guys have the subscription and you guys have used the newest version with the advanced reasoning, I believe they call it, and it takes like 30 seconds to a minute to think, it's like very scary how smart AI has gotten. So I think it's going to get to a point where you're not going to really be able to tell. And if you're not able to tell, it might be a useful resource. Now, obviously, you want things to be correct. You never want the AI to lie to you or say something to you that Jordan Peterson said that he didn't actually say. So it's going to be a little weird. And I know that adjustment period is going to be rough for a lot of people, especially the people who are resistant to the idea of talking to AI professors. But I think AI professors could be a useful thing. I think it really could, because then it could put the professor in a million places at once that he can't be in his physical, biologically limited form. So I think it could be a useful tool. And I think, in the future, if we have these lecture domes that are spheres with all these beautiful visuals on the inside and outside, and you have professors teaching there live, and then you also have these study halls that are popping up all over the world. Maybe they start to look like churches, like students actually put time and effort to building them by hand. Who knows? Who knows how big this could get? And then you have these AI professors that can pop up anywhere and answer your questions immediately. But if you really, really want to talk to the professor, maybe you got to just wait, save up your money, go to one of these conferences. Maybe they take place at these lecture domes that I'm suggesting, and then you can talk to the professor live in person and actually get real answers to your questions. But I think a combination of these three things could be amazing. I think it could revolutionize education. Now, it's going to take a lot of money and effort to make all these things happen. And I think likely if we want to see these, lecture domes and study halls start to pop up around the world, the Peterson Academy is probably going to have to up its tuition to pay for it. Or maybe they can have some volunteer program where people voluntarily give money towards it. But I don't know exactly how this would work out, but I would love to get in contact with the Peterson Academy team and talk to them more about my ideas. These are just 3 that I have today. I might make a part 2 to this video and add on to this and keep having this discussion with you guys. So at least we can have the discussion, and then maybe eventually we can get in contact with the Peterson Academy team and make some of these ideas come to fruition. I would love to see that happen. So if you guys have any ideas on where you would like to see the Academy go in the future, 5, 10, 20 years down the line, the world's going to be a very different place by that time. Elon Musk has said himself that in 20 years, there's going to be more humanoid robots than there are humans on the planet. I don't know how possible that is. He might be, shooting a little high there, but, if the smartest man, I don't like giving him that moniker. I think it's a little lame, but the smartest man on the planet says that there's going to be 20 million robots in 20 years. The world's going to be very, very different, very, very fast. So, I'm just trying to have these conversations to prepare for it. So, if this video does get to the Peterson Academy, and somebody from the Peterson Academy is watching this, definitely reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you guys in further detail. But yeah, that's everything that I have for today, guys. I don't want to ramble on for too much longer. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. It helps boost this channel and the algorithm. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, it means the world to me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.